We're in the future. The society we're about to see, through the use of powerful computers and laser beams, is able to reconstruct famous figures from the past. Instead of reading about them in books, students are able to hear the great people themselves. We are going to watch a history lesson. A history lesson that will be beamed into all classrooms and many homes. A lesson that will pit two titans against each other. Two giants who, in their own ways, profoundly influenced the fate of nations. They are...
Karl Marx, the first of our honored ghosts from the past. Karl Marx, writer, social philosopher, economist, a chief theoretician of socialism and communism. Born 1818 in Germany, died 1883 in England.
Yes, Karl Marx himself. Revered, hated, one of the most influential men who ever lived. And he is about to debate...
John Davison Rockefeller. Born 1839, died 1937. An American, his vast fortune was based on oil. If you'll stand over here, please.
John D. Rockefeller, the great capitalist, versus Karl Marx, the apostle of socialism. And students in this future age will be watching on their televiewers to see if one man can vanquish the other.
Watching you today. This you will do in the full spirit of cooperation. I say this with confidence because being cooperative has been programmed into you. Except for a few unavoidable built-in controls, you are fully and completely yourselves at the very peak of your vitality. You will find that you speak our language fluently and without accent. And now, the debate is about to begin. Our beloved president herself will start it off.
I would like to know what each of you thinks about the basic character of humankind. Rockefeller.
You must realize I was a businessman, not a philosopher.
Honored ghost, allow me to rephrase the question. What would you consider the ideal society in which to live?
A society in which a person like me, coming from humble beginnings, has a chance to build and become successful. A society in which there is justice and freedom.
Justice, freedom, brotherhood, the rights of man. Always these vague and sentimental words.
They are meaningful to me, as they would be to all free peoples.
Free peoples, being defined as peoples who are free to support capitalists like you.
Your view of an ideal society, Marx?
A society without master or slave, rich or poor. A society in which people are no longer tyrannized by their own institutions, where work is joyous and uncoerced and spontaneous, where people can realize their full potential as human beings. Only then will human history truly begin.
And you accuse me of being vague and sentimental.
We do not wish to unduly tire our guests. This evening, our honored ghost will be joining me at dinner. I hope all of you will be watching.
Marx and Rockefeller will be put into several different environments in this future society. The first is a dinner party.
How do you like the food?
Very good indeed.
Doesn't everything taste a bit the same?
It's all made out of algae.
Algae?
The organism that floats in ponds. You know, the green scum.
Green scum.
Isn't it wonderful what we're able to do with it? It's practically all we eat anymore. When I think of what people ate in the bad old days.
It's a marvelous time to live.
It is.
Let's discuss the two of you for a moment. Marx, you have been described as charmless, contentious, scornful, overbearing, offensive, and rude. Now, how do you react to this?
I was a fighter. And I suppose often sarcastic. I could not abide sham, stupidity, or sentimentality. To a few, I was a good friend. To my family, I was deeply attached.
And you, Rockefeller, were called cold, avaricious, self-seeking, and humorless.
Naturally, those of us who made money were considered as representative of all that is evil and hard-hearted, no matter what we accomplished.
You were rich, perhaps the world's first billionaire.
I lived simply enough, considering my means. I gave millions to charity. I was deeply attached to my family, my friends, and my church.
And you, Marx?
I was scarcely rich.
Poor, in fact. Desperately poor?
It was of no importance.
A terrible, grinding poverty much of the time you lived in England? Without enough money for food or rent or medicine for your children?
It was of no significance. All that mattered was my historic task.
A good night's rest, gentlemen, and tomorrow we'll take you to one of our schools.
Please, I'm a virtual illiterate. I'd like someone to explain to me the basic differences between communism and capitalism. For example, what about private ownership?
No private ownership of the means of production. Instead, ownership by the state for the collective good.
Certainly private ownership. It's the prestige and profit resulting from ownership that spur men on and promote accomplishment.
The marketplace?
It must be free. A free market and free enterprise. Let competition determine what should be produced and at what price it can be sold.
The marketplace must be regulated. Individual self-interest cannot determine long-range priorities.
Political change
Should come about by compromise, give and take. Gradual change preserves the best from the past and incorporates the interests of all groups.
Economic systems hold on tenaciously long after their usefulness is over. No one should fear or hold back from revolution if that is the only way a new system can be born.
Good. Until tomorrow, then.
Marx and Rockefeller are escorted to a classroom. Here they see a strange sight. The students wear antennas on their heads, stare at a flashing light, and seem to be learning electronically.
Remove your learning caps, please. We have guests with us today. Our most famous scientist and our honored ghosts from the past, Karl Marx and John D. Rockefeller.
Aren't you glad you're alive today?
You already know something about our honored ghosts. Now you are fortunate enough to have the opportunity to question them in person. Jill?
Ghost Marx, last night at the dinner party, you spoke of your historic task. What was that, please?
I was dedicated to the liberation of the proletariat.
The proletariat were the workers.
I did this by making them aware of the historical process, the dialectic under which the working class could free itself.
Ghost Rockefeller, did you have a mission?
I don't know if I'd call it a mission, but I struggled for stability and order in the greatest of all economic systems, capitalism. I fought for an economy in which there would be enough for all, financiers and workers alike.
Ghost Marx, you spoke of the historical process, the dialectic. What is that, please?
This is the tension, the struggle between classes of people. These clashes grow in intensity until there is a sharp break with the past, a leap to a new and higher level. Then the process begins again, and at the root of it is not philosophy or religion, but production, the exchange of goods, economics.
What are classes, please?
A class is a group of people that have a good deal in common. The proletariat is the working class. The bourgeoisie are the capitalists, the owners of the means of production, the hirers of workers. It is out of the struggle between these classes that a higher form of society, socialism, will come.
Ghost Rockefeller, would you argue with him, please? We've been very bored today.
Well, first of all, socialism is not a higher form of society. The highest form of society is one in which the unique individual is encouraged by being rewarded for his efforts. Secondly, on the subject of classes, I've known managers of large corporations who worked for a salary and workers who owned stock and therefore were part owners of companies.
Let me put it another way. As soon as mankind was able to produce more than it needed, certain individuals acquired control of tools and instruments of production. They hired workers and took from them all profits over and above what the workers needed to exist on. What you had then was a division between exploiter and exploited, controllers and controlled, non-owning producers and non-producing owners.
Marx seems to forget that someone has to organize. Someone has to channel energy, to take command. I also object to Marx dividing humans into warring camps. My experience has been that more important than classes are the common interests of mankind.
When a capitalist speaks of the common good and common interests, he means the interests and good of his own class. And when he talks in these terms, beware. He wants to take something from you.
A typically civil-minded division between good and evil.
The well-being of Rockefeller's class depends on one thing and one thing only: accumulation. Owning, possessing. Man no longer lives for life, he lives for money.
Without accumulated capital to draw on, there is no industry. Without industry, there are no jobs. Without jobs, there are no workers. And this holds true whether a country be communistic, socialistic, or capitalistic.
Enough for now. We must avoid overstimulating the little one.
The young people were perhaps overly excitable, but this is in sharp contrast to the next group Marx and Rockefeller visit. These are average citizens, gathered together expressly to question the famous visitors from the past.
Isn't this a wonderful time to live? Isn't it? I'm sorry to break your concentration, but I felt you'd want to meet our honored ghosts. Do you have any questions for them?
Yes. Ghost Rockefeller, what did you have for breakfast this morning?
What a stupid question to ask.
It isn't. He'll tell me what he had for breakfast, then I'll tell him what I had. Then we'll have a wonderful conversation.
You should ask him an important question, like, what astrological sign were you born under?
Why don't one of you ask Marx about alienation?
Ghost Marx? What is alienation?
Alienation is a loss of personal identity, a sense of self.
Those of you who can write, take notes, please.
Alienation occurs when our laws, our government, our work are no longer relevant to our real needs but are forced upon us. We then feel we are being controlled by some vast external force that leaves us powerless. When a worker is assigned one small task which he must repeat endlessly, he becomes alienated.
I assume Marx is talking about a division of labor and production lines. Well, I can tell you from practical experience that they have increased productivity enormously. Can you imagine a worker attempting to build an automobile by himself?
When a worker is chained to a machine, he is mutilated into a fragment of a human being. He becomes an accessory of the machine. He no longer uses it, it uses him. Machines deprive work of interest and meaning.
Nonsense. Machines make work easier, quicker, more precise. The worker works less to produce more.
Modern industry converts the worker from a human being into a commodity.
Modern industry frees the worker, giving him shorter hours, better pay, leisure.
Certainly it is to your advantage to make the worker believe this, Rockefeller, so he will slave for you and fight your wars for you. You throw the worker crumbs from your loaf and tell him how fortunate he is. You steal from him and hypnotize him into defending you for doing it.
By these lies, Marx, you encourage workers to steal from me what is rightfully mine. I say give people the opportunity to move upwards if they have the ability and energy to do so. Reward accomplishment with property and money and power, because this is what success deserves. You will then have a society that moves, that builds.
By spewing out this propaganda, you hope to keep the lower classes docile. The worker is oppressed and exploited.
The worker flourishes.
Workers of the world unite in one violent worldwide revolution. You have nothing to lose but your chains.
Workers, you have nothing to lose but your well-being.
Marx and Rockefeller are amazed. The young were enthusiastic and eager to learn. This group of adults, however, has sunk into a lethargy so deep, no idea can reach them. But perhaps this has always been the case.
We've enjoyed your debates enormously. Now, what can we do for you?
Since my resurrection, I haven't been outside once. All your buildings seem to be connected by tunnels. Would it be possible to take a stroll outdoors?
A capital idea.
Unfortunately, you'd have to wear one of these. I can't imagine you'd enjoy it very much.
Why should something like that be necessary?
In the bad old days, they poured an enormous quantity of smoke, exhaust, and aerosols into the air.
I assume that was quite some time ago.
Oh, it was. Such has been the advance of science, however, that we are now putting into the atmosphere poisons you couldn't even imagine in your day. Of course, it's all for the better life. It's a wonderful time to live.
It is. What we would like to do now is to equalize your experiences.
Since your lives only partially overlapped, Rockefeller lived some 50 years after Marx's death, we are going to give you information that will lead both of you up to, say, the last quarter of the 20th century.
You will not have to study or memorize.
You won't even have to read.
All you will have to do is sleep. Where are they now?
Marx is being brought into the 20th century, and Rockefeller's memory is being refreshed. The First World War, the establishment of communism in Russia. We're moving into the 1930s. The Depression, the growth of totalitarian governments.
The Second World War?
Yes, the whole thing compressed into seconds.
An ordeal.
Through the 50s and 60s with their little wars, into the 70s, and just beyond.
Stop them there. Let them sleep normally for a few hours. They need it.
We have seen our honored ghosts, our ghostly guests, in a number of environments. Now, they will continue their debate in this hall, without distractions either to them or to you. They will utilize the knowledge we have provided them. This knowledge carries them into their own immediate future, into the last part of the 20th century. Come in, gentlemen. To direct the discussion, I will utter from time to time key words or phrases to which they will immediately respond. Rockefeller's career.
Your career as a capitalist was an interesting one, Rockefeller, and in a way typical. You professed the glories of competition, yet did everything in your power to suppress it.
You fail to understand the situation that existed in the oil industry in the 19th century. Overproduction at times drove down the price of oil until water, or the barrels oil was stored in, were worth more than the oil itself. Then, with every business panic,
The inevitable result of unplanned economies and unchecked industrial strife.
small companies were forced out of business.
A few ever larger fish ate the smaller fish.
It's better than letting the industry die.
It was charity then, not the survival of the fittest.
Order had to be ensured. Efficiency and stability had to be established.
With order and stability as an excuse, you ruthlessly took over an industry. You used illegal railroad rebates, control of pipelines, storage tanks, and eventually marketing outlets and production. Those who didn't join you or sell out to you were crushed.
I saved those I could. I gave jobs to those who were competent. The industry survived and grew.
You, above all capitalists, led the way to greater and greater fusions of rival companies. You were the prophet of centralized industry, the apostle of monopolistic trust, the high priest of pools and combinations.
Size is no evil. To grow, to progress, highly technical and extremely expensive equipment is needed. Modern oil technology could not be developed in a cottage. Your average citizen could not finance a refinery and put it in his backyard. As we grew large, we grew more efficient. We developed scores of new products. We turned out quality products at fair prices.
You took from the workers below you what was rightfully theirs. Everything you had was from their labor.
Wrong. Everything they had, their jobs, the quality of their lives, was the result of the labor of people like me.
Marx's predictions on the fate of capitalism.
Inaccurate, like all his predictions.
The downfall of capitalism is inevitable because the government, the news media, the schools, the church, the arts, the military all represent the narrow interests of the ruling class. The system is rigid and unresponsive. It will break down as soon as the people have had enough.
You were predicting that in the middle of the 19th century.
Whether the time span is greater or smaller, the result will be the same.
Since you feel that you alone possess the truth, you're blind to all facts that refute your ideas. Capitalism survives and grows because it has proved flexible. It accommodates.
Are you happy with the accommodation, Rockefeller? Social security, minimum wages, unemployment insurance, graduated taxes, government regulation of business. Doesn't this smack of the left, of creeping socialism?
I'm not entirely happy, no. But are you happy with what has become of Marxism?
The modern socialist states.
All credit to the persuasiveness of Marx's theories, for hundreds of millions live in societies which profess them. Marx, who scorned religion, has become the authoritarian founder of a new faith, while his book, Das Kapital, has become a book of revelation, a Bible to half the world. And what has happened in these socialist countries? There is one owner, the state. All decisions are made not by the workers, but by bureaucrats whose only recommendation is that they adhere to the party line. Like feudal serfs, the farmer is chained to the land, the worker to his job. Present tyranny and privation are excused in the name of future freedom and plenty in a communistic utopia that never comes. And incredibly, out of this utter dehumanization, this terrible narrowing, a new man, a higher society is expected to evolve.
As contrasted to that full flowering of the human spirit occurring in those nations euphemistically referred to as the free world. You are nations of mouths and stomachs. Your chief activity is consumption, your main output is waste. You are sustained by psychiatry and weekend group therapy, living miserably in a luxury stolen from the world's deprived. I look at you, Rockefeller, John D. Rockefeller, and I see chemicals in rivers, poisons in air, sordid speculations, suppressed minorities, unemployed masses, neglected elderly, useless products, wasteful packaging, propaganda machines, disguised imperialism, military dictatorships, conniving multinationals, the whole irrational panoply and spectacle of corporate capitalism. I see you, an old man hiding on your estates from the world you helped create. An old man giving away millions.
To colleges and medical schools, to combat hookworm, arterial diseases, meningitis, pneumonia, for research in physics, oceanography, malnutrition, microbiology, to national parks, for black education.
So people would forget the untold billions you stole.
I gave from the beginning when I had practically nothing.
Your nations, Rockefeller, are repressive.
Your nations, Marx, are repressive. Your nations arm the world.
Your nations arm the world.
Yours are centralized states run by bureaucrats.
Yours are centralized states run by bureaucrats. You wage war.
You wage war.
Your peoples are alienated and unhappy.
Your peoples are alienated and unhappy.
You are imperialists.
You are imperialists.
The future.
The future.
What about the future?
Well, that's for you to discuss.
You live in our future. Why don't you tell us about it?
I want you to make some guesses, some predictions.
It's strange that you've given us no indication of how your society is organized.
Our future works just fine. It's a wonderful time to live.
So you keep assuring us.
Why did you bring us up to the last part of the 20th century and then stop?
The rules of the game are ours, not yours.
What economic system prevails?
Capitalism?
Socialism?
You were programmed to cooperate. You must cooperate.
Why do you fear our criticism?
We are invulnerable to criticism.
Well, then bring us up to your own time.
You're chasing after the wind.
You're afraid.
Your constant carping and criticism is vanity. Nothing but vanity.
We are quite satisfied with things as they are.
But how are they?
Sufficient for our needs.
Which tells us nothing.
Turn off the computers and I want to talk to the programmers tomorrow.
All computers relating to this program are to be turned off immediately.
Honored ghosts, you are about to thaw, melt, and resolve yourselves into a dew. I know I speak for everyone when I thank you for your edifying and entertaining debate. Remote as your debate was from us and our concern.
No society has ever existed in which economic considerations were remote.
It simply reminds us of the confusions, doubts, turmoils we passed through to reach this wonderful age of ours.
This marvelous time, this incomparable epoch of inconspicuous technology.
I want to tell you, Marx, I'm proud of our capitalistic accomplishments. We lived in a raw country that cried out for products and development. In a few decades, we changed the face of the earth.
For which you should be thanked, Rockefeller. This industrialization for which you labored forms the basis for socialism. The workers you trained will be the skilled technicians of this higher society.
Marx, you are a pig-headed fellow. It's not a higher society. You should know that by now.
You should be convinced that it is.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
And so, image, voice, and shadow, they vanish. What would you consider to be the major contributions of Karl Marx and John D. Rockefeller? In what ways do you think they have influenced the world in which you live?